Goa has a reputation of being a chill beach town that turns into a giant party at night. But there's much more to this gorgeous piece of land on the southwestern Indian coast, a history of trade and of Portuguese occupation that is still present today. So, whether you're in for the history, the quiet beaches or party nights, in this video I will tell you everything you need to know to make your Goa trip unforgettable. Goa is actually a huge stretch of land along the beach, nestled between two international airports. So, finding the best place to book your hotel is essential, especially since there's no public bus system and you're heavily reliant on overpriced taxis. The most popular spot is Calangute. It has a gorgeous beach, many restaurants and really everything you need nearby. Getting there from one of the two airports takes around the same time, depending on traffic, even more than 1 hour. So don't be surprised if the taxis ask for a high rate. The prices change frequently. The great thing about Calangute is that it's really the best of both worlds when it comes to a relaxing beach experience and a party atmosphere at night. Most things happen in and around Tito's Lane, so that is a good start. When night falls in Calangute, the whole beach comes alive. Bars and restaurants light up the shoreline, with music pumping and people dancing right on the sand. It's a great mix of good food, good vibes and the sound of the ocean. You can chill by the water or dive right into the nightlife. Either way, Calangute is the perfect place to be. We start the morning after the party relaxed, with a trip to one of the most beautiful beaches in the region, Anjuna. We need to get a taxi from Calangute that takes around 25 minutes and takes us to the Cristiano Ronaldo Park and the hippie village of Anjuna to a secluded beach. This beach is completely different from Calangute, as there are much fewer tourists and everything feels like it's been preserved from a previous era that was less polished and more authentic. Some of the restaurants that are right across the beach have actually closed down or at least have seen their best days. However, it really added to the charm of this place. Like I said before, it's not a fully polished place with high-end resorts and fancy cocktail bars. Instead, it's a sleepy, raw and relaxed little town with a beautiful beach. Every Wednesday, the Anjuna flea market takes place in the center of the village and is a great place to shop souvenirs and local goods if you happen to be in Goa on that specific weekday. Whether you come here to do water sport activities, join a yoga class or simply sit on the beach all day, Anjuna really asks you to slow down and take in the atmosphere. I decided that 34 degrees was enough a reason to go swimming. After swimming in the beautiful waters, I needed some shade and I was hungry as well, so I decided to sit down in a restaurant called Cafe Antonio and really enjoyed my food with a view of the ocean. So we've covered the beaches and the party, now it's time for the fun section, the history. Let's dive a little deeper into the history of this region. And there's no better place for that than the Aguada Fort. Again, we have to take a taxi to get there. I recommend negotiating a deal with your driver for a return trip so he knows he gets paid for 2 trips and you don't have to hassle when you want to go back and are in a much worse position to negotiate. You may remember from a video on Tamil Nadu that India wasn't just ruled by the British, but several European colonial powers wanted a say in the subcontinent. That was such an important location on global trade routes. The Portuguese were actually the first European nation that arrived in India in 1498, over 100 years before the British first set foot on this land. After defeating the Sultanate of Bijapur, Portugal started to rule this region in 1510 and did so for over 450 years until the year 1961. In the first centuries after taking control over Goa, the colony was living in its golden age. The port became a crucial hub for world trade and a key link in Portugal's spice trade. However, when the British and Dutch arrived and started to gain control over large areas of India, the Portuguese influence in the region declined. After India's independence in 1947, Portugal was the only nation that didn't want to give up on its colony in the subcontinent, because it was an integral part of Portugal, which, whatever. It took 14 years of failed diplomatic efforts until India decided to annex the regions held by Portugal violently, and after 36 hours fighting and a high double-digit number of casualties, India integrated the land into their own country. Portugal didn't accept the loss until 1974 when its own dictatorship failed. I bet you didn't expect to learn about a war between Portugal and India today, did you? Even after all this time and the violent end of Portuguese rule, you can still see the influences today. From Portuguese street names and restaurants named after Portuguese places and footballers, the connections are endless. That concludes our trip to the beautiful region of Goa. I hope it's inspired you to visit and experience it for yourself. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe so you don't miss any of my future adventures. It really means a lot to me. This is actually part 2 of my travels through southern India. So if you haven't seen it yet, click here to check out my trip to Tamil Nadu. See you next time.